horrifying truth. Hong Kong fire death toll could reach 2,000. It has now been 10 days since the Hong Kong fire, yet the official numbers remain frozen at 159 dead and 31 missing. But according to information compiled in recent days, especially from a frontline volunteer who reported to commentator Lim Liang, more than 200 bodies were already carried out within the first 2 days. With such evidence, there is every reason to question the Hong Kong authorities' casualty figures. In a December 7 broadcast, commentator Lee, citing a Hong Kong professional, stated that the official numbers are physically and statistically impossible, an outright lie fabricated by an authoritarian regime to conceal engineering corruption and systemic failure. The expert identified 5 defining features of the Wong Fuk Court fire: a rare level 5 blaze, 7 31-story towers burning at once, flammable foam sealant on windows, combustion-supporting scaffolding nets, and total fire alarm failure. These overlapping factors, he concluded, prove the fire was a premeditated murder. Together, they created a chimney effect, causing flames to surge vertically at extreme speed. Residents on upper floors had less than 5 minutes to escape. Those above the 15th floor had virtually no chance. According to Hong Kong's 2021 census, Wong Fuk Court's 8 towers housed 4,643 residents, about 580 each. 7 towers were engulfed, affecting roughly 4,160 people, with 60% elderly residents, over 90% of whom were at home when the blaze erupted at 2:50 p.m., plus 10% children and 30% office workers. The overall at-home rate was about 58%. That means approximately 2,366 people were trapped, and including 250 temporary workers on site, the total reached around 2,616. Yet with 159 reported deaths, the official mortality rate is only 6.08%, far below London's 2017 Grenfell Tower fire, where a single 24-story building had a 24% death rate. The Wong Fuk Court fire was larger, faster, and more destructive, yet supposedly 4 times less deadly. Physically, statistically, historically, and logically, that number does not hold. The Hong Kong professional also said that thousands of missing person posts flooded social media after the fire, but officials reduced the count to 31. Given the devastation and volume of missing reports, the evidence points to a far higher death toll. The professional warned that covering up a systemic disaster in such a crude way inflicts the most brutal kind of secondary harm on victims and their families. Based on historical data from similar high-rise catastrophes, mortality rates in highly destructive fires typically range between 25 and 50%, averaging around 30%. Applying those rates to Wong Fuk Court's figures would put the estimated death toll between 654 and 1,308, with an average of roughly 784. But factoring in faster fire spread, more flammable materials, sealed shafts, fully wrapped scaffolding, and poor firefighting, the expert concluded the real number of victims could easily exceed 1,500. This was the full analysis presented by the Hong Kong professional. Further evidence came from Final War with Catherine Hu channel. After the disaster, the Hong Kong authorities announced that they had temporarily housed 1,152 residents in hostels or hotels, and another 1,765 in transitional housing, a total of 2,917 people. But as we mentioned above, according to the 2021 census, Wong Fuk Court had a total population of 4,643. So what happened to the remaining 1,726 residents who were supposed to be living there? When you add in migrant workers, contractors, and unregistered residents, that gap alone suggests the real death toll could be approaching 2,000. Just thinking about it is enough to send chills down your spine. We are not here to exaggerate or spread rumors. Every life lost in this tragedy matters, and countless families of the victims in Hong Kong are now grieving. That is precisely why the people of Hong Kong, more than anyone else, need the truth. They deserve answers for the immense loss and suffering they have endured. In the immediate aftermath of the fire, young Hong Kongers took to the streets, handing out leaflets and urging the public to sign a petition demanding a transparent investigation. But their call for accountability was met with arrests and intimidation by the police and the Hong Kong government. Today, authorities detained yet another figure, 71-year-old current affairs commentator Wang Onyin. He is accused of making inflammatory remarks and disclosing information related to police and security bureau investigations, allegations framed as obstructing an investigation and endangering national security. Meanwhile, residents have been visiting the fire site for days, laying flowers and leaving handwritten notes of grief and solidarity. Yet volunteers report suspicious individuals secretly monitoring the message area. Soon after, law enforcement personnel arrived and told them that since the fire had passed the one-week mark, the pavilion must be returned and the message-leaving area closed. At the same time, the Security Bureau summoned international media, including AFP, accusing some outlets of distorting facts and smearing the government's rescue and recovery efforts. Officials warned that they will not tolerate any reporting that could, in their view, bring chaos to Hong Kong. Since the handover, under the rule of the Hong Kong Communists, the city increasingly mirrors mainland China. The larger the crisis, the tighter the censorship, and the harsher the punishment for anyone daring to reveal the truth. Blocking information first and arresting truth-tellers next has become the standard playbook. According to commentator Lee, there is a simple and credible path to restoring public trust. Release the full, named list of all victims and missing persons. It's a method the city once relied on after past disasters, total transparency that allows citizens to verify the truth and instantly silence rumors. But the question now is this: does today's Hong Kong government still have the courage to do it? If this trajectory continues, Hong Kong citizens may soon have to scale the firewall as mainland Chinese just to learn what is really happening in their own city. Before we move on, I just want to share something real quick. YouTube hasn't been recommending our channel much lately, so if you've made it this far, drop this icon in the comments. It really helps us beat the algorithm. You can also find it in the description below if you want to copy it easily. Together, we can get past the censorship and let more people see the truth. Countless Hong Kong lives become the scapegoat. Was the city's energy drained? In the previous episode, we exposed the tangled web of vested interests behind the Hong Kong fire, a network that leads directly to the family of China's current leader, Xi Jinping. The investigation also uncovered what is believed to be the first major corruption scandal since the founding of the People's Republic of China. At the center of it all stand First Lady Peng Liyuan, Xi's key aides Ma Xingri and Kai Chi, along with an emergency Plan B launched by CCP elders to reorganize the leadership. If all of this is verified, it points to one conclusion: Zhongnanhai is now in complete political chaos, with Xi's faction and the anti-Xi faction locked in a fight for survival. In my view, the Hong Kong fire could very well be the blaze that consumes Xi Jinping's entire family and empire of power. But as serious as this corruption is, it's still not the real truth behind the disaster of the century in Hong Kong. What lies beneath is far more shocking. According to the channel Final War with Catherine Hu, the true mastermind behind the Hong Kong fire is the same figure behind the Yu Menglong case. The same circle, the same objective: to use this fire as a ritual to restore the fortune of a fallen ruler, a leader who has already lost his grip on power. As we've reported before, the 7 towers that burned correspond exactly to the 7 incense pillars used in sacrificial rites. In today's episode, we'll take a closer look at this ritual, as analyzed by renowned feng shui master Ma Xian. According to Ma, an ancient Chinese text known as Wugong Jing, the scripture of the 5 dukes, which has long been used to predict great calamities, reveals that China's 7-year disaster cycle begins in the year of the fire snake, 2025. The prophecy says that when this apocalyptic event arrives, flames will rise in the southern sky, a massive inferno surging upward like a dragon or serpent, hundreds of meters high, glowing in deep crimson. And according to the text, the catastrophe of the final age begins with this fire. Geographically, Hong Kong sits at the southernmost edge of China's continental plate, and its name, Kowloon, meaning 9 dragons, marks it as the head of the southern dragon in traditional geomancy. In feng shui, that makes Hong Kong a land of immense energy and prosperity. A place like this, Ma explained, can be used to amplify fortune through 7 towering incense pillars. According to this interpretation, Xi, who sees himself as the true dragon emperor, has sought to use this very formation to shift his fate. This arrangement is known as the Great Golden Dragon Formation. That's why, among the 8 towers, only 7 burned, because the ritual requires 7 incense pillars. Together they form what is known as the Dragon Totem. Ma also pointed to other signs in recent years. In 2016, a massive explosion rocked Tianjin, followed that same year by the unjust death of Chinese actor Qiao Renliang. This year, the killing of another Chinese actor, Yu Menglong, corresponds to the same cycle of fate. Before Yu's death, there was a blood moon, and before and after the Hong Kong and Guangdong fires, fiery red clouds covered the sky, glowing like red silk stretched across the heavens. What follows, the prophecy warns, is turmoil spreading across the land. Famine, war, and bloodshed. Populations scatter. The sun, moon, and stars fall out of alignment. Rivers, mountains, and seas are shrouded in darkness. The righteous are slain by the wicked. Families sink into grief. The world collapses into chaos, and human life becomes scarce. In the end, those who unleashed this disaster, Ma said, will face eternal punishment. From Hong Kong's return in 1997 to 2025, less than 30 years, the last traces of the city's prosperity and fortune have now been consumed by fire. Hong Kong once had the umbrella movement in 2015, and later the anti-extradition protests in 2019. But today's Hong Kong no longer carries that strength. Its youth have been arrested, imprisoned, and drained of the spirit needed to resist. A new era born in flames? Is Hong Kong ready to rise? In the episode released on December 3rd, we also noted that Ms. Zhang, a London-based expert in Ziwei Doshu, an ancient Chinese metaphysical system, conducted a live analysis that left even her momentarily speechless. She described the fire as very likely arson and said what she saw resembled 7 burning incense sticks, a chilling symbol of ritual sacrifice in which countless ordinary Hong Kong residents became the offering. After reviewing the data and astrological signs, she concluded that this was no coincidence. It was a political sacrifice. Behind the flames, she said, was a calculated ritual intertwined with power and ambition. She claimed that a slightly overweight woman had shut off the alarms under orders from a senior official over 60, approximately 1.75 meters tall, wielding enormous power and influence. That official, she added, was not in Hong Kong, but north of the Wong Fu Court area, politically cornered and desperate to save his career. According to her, he turned to dark occult methods, igniting 7 buildings like 7 candles to offer a sacrifice for power and promotion. The energy drawn from a single celebrity, she explained, was no longer enough to alter his fate. So the aim was to tap into Hong Kong's qi, the city's land energy and prosperity, to reshape the destiny of this powerful man. Commentator Catherine Hu added that, coincidentally, another analyst known for accurately tracking the CCP's internal power struggles, Shanhe Dongfu, said in his latest episode that Liu Yuan, a retired PLA general, now intends to arrest 2 of Xi Jinping's closest confidants, Kai Chi and Public Security Minister Wang Xiaohong, as suspects in the Hong Kong fire, claiming that both had already appeared at the scene. While none of Ms. Zhang's statements can be independently verified, her words echo an earlier prophecy. In 2023, British well-known medium Craig Hamilton Parker predicted during a live stream that Hong Kong would experience a politically linked high-rise fire. He also predicted that Hong Kong would soon rise up, that a revolution would erupt during the Christmas season, and that in 2026, a tall man from the East would emerge from the darkness and ignite the next era, a figure who would reshape the world order and push Eastern nations toward greater leadership. A sign, he said, that when darkness reaches its limit, the light begins to return. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. If you found this analysis valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.